So happy Monday, everyone. Thank you so very much for tuning in to 98.3 FM Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. And of course, I'm your host, Marty Jalove. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock to talk about your job, your career, your vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. And if you miss any of today's episode, and this is going to be a very special episode, this is going to be part one of a 6-part series or 5-part series, 7-part series. We'll see where we're going to go. All right. But this is going to be a part one of a very important series. You're going to want to listen to not only this one, but every piece of this series. It's very good. It's about building a strong team for your business. But if you miss any part of the episode, tune in later in the week to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness anywhere you tune in the podcast. Okay, so as you know, every week I'm on a quest to bring you the industry best, and I always try to come up with an interesting guest, and today is absolutely no exception. I have the phenomenal Joe Janicki back once again, so now you can officially say hello to the world, Joe.
You know what? I'm kind of disappointed. You found so many rhymes in that intro, except for Janicki. You found nothing that rhymes with Janicki. So,
all right. As I turn off his mic, because that was a quickie, and now it's back to Joe Janicki. That's the best I got.
Wow, that's that was not a good one.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, Marty, for having me back. My name is Joe Janicki. I own Brightway Insurance over here in Lake Zurich. Happy to be back and part of the show.
Yeah. So Joe, one of the reasons I really like having you on the show is I think we work very well together. We think very similarly in a lot of ways, but we're also not afraid to disagree with each other.
We're a good team.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree. So, oh man, that was a good one. I didn't even catch that one at first. All right.
Not surprised.
Right. Yeah. So today, yeah, you're the one who also introduced me in my new hairstyle. So thank you, Joe. All right. So today we're going to be talking about building a strong team from recruitment to retirement. This is going to be one of a multi-part series, and we want to cover all those kind of aspects. And if you are interested, go back to the site. You can go to baconbitsradio.com or masterhappiness.com/live and go to the blog section and look at some of the other stuff. Look up Joe Janicki's name. We did a whole series on the customer experience. We did some stuff on AI. We've been doing quite a few different series and specialty episodes, but this one I think is going to be really exciting. And like I said, this is the first one. We're going to really try to stick to this first part, which is about that first part of recruitment. And Joe, I got to hand it to you. When we first talked, you had said, hey, we do have to talk a little bit about building company culture. All right. And so did some research, looked at it and saying, yeah, everything that we're talking about recruitment is based on that culture. So yeah, I do think we have to talk a little bit on culture today.
It is important.
All right.
I can go into further on why I believe that, but let's.
All right.
Let's
you got an hour. Okay. All right. So, Joe, as you know, what we normally do is we go through, we add a little bacon to our conversation. The reason we add bacon, it's called Bacon Bits, is because everything a bacon touches just becomes a little bit better. But of course, we are not talking about the bacon for chewing.
Are we talking about the bacon for doing?
That is it, sir.
We should be talking about the turkey.
Yeah.
So I
don't know. I'm not a big turkey bacon fan.
No, but maybe we can go back to AI and ask it for some turkey suggestions. How can we?
All right. Well, we just talked about that. Is on the last show, Rusty popped back in here.
Hey, Rusty.
He's stealing equipment from I did a couple of years ago. My brother asked me to make 2 turkeys for the family. Like everyone else was making side dishes, and he goes, "It's your year to make the turkeys, right?" So one of the turkeys I made was completely wrapped with a bacon weave. So completely done. It was really, it looked gorgeous. It baked perfectly and stuff, but it just doesn't get the bacon flavor into the meat.
Yeah.
So,
you just ate the bacon, threw the turkey away?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bacon was just the vehicle for the bacon.
My dad
the turkey was the vehicle for the bacon.
My dad used to say, you know how you have the salmon and you cook it on that wood plank, right?
Yeah.
You soak the plank.
Yeah.
And you put the salmon on it, you put it right in the grill, and he goes, you just wait, and it smokes and it cooks, and then when it's done, you throw the salmon away and eat the plank.
Wow, that's a little rough, eating the plank, but hey, to each his own, right? All right. So today, Joe, as you know, we're using the bacon for doing, and so we're going to use the acronym BACON. And so, as a surprise, which I got to hand it to all my guests, I never tell anyone what the BACON stands for until they get into the studio.
Nurture. N for nurture.
Oh, you would think so, but today's a little bit different.
All right.
Okay. B is build your culture blueprint.
Good.
All right. So that's how we're going to start out strong like that, baby, because we got to explain what that means and how to do this. A is align your values with your mission. All right. So we're talking long on building the company right, setting the company in the right direction before you start bringing people aboard. C is communicate your culture in recruitment. That's the obvious one. That's what that's what I was really thinking the show was going to be about until you enlightened me and say, Marty, why don't we talk a little bit more about culture? All right. O is optimize onboarding for an inclusion fit. Okay. And finally, N is notice cultural catalysts during interviews. Okay. Somebody who can take your culture and not only live by it, but can build upon it and expand upon it.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to get into this whole bit of, and I want to jump right into this whole thing about building a solid culture. And it's this idea of culture and creating values.
Yeah.
And so I want to throw it to you, Joe, because I want you to talk a little bit about the values, even the values, how you came up with your value list for your company and how you, not only established them, but how do you live by them? How do you constantly remind people?
So we took, we actually sat and we looked at, okay, if I was going to hire somebody, what qualities would I want that individual to have? And we whiteboarded, I whiteboard everything. So I whiteboard our processes. I whiteboard how I want that individual to be. How do they treat people? Do they show up punctually? Like all of the qualities that I want in the ideal candidate. I put them all on the board. And then we looked at them, we got rid of all the generic stuff. We merged the ones that could be merged with another one and fit them into what ultimately became our core values. And I think they're, when we look at that, we look at, the core values are what guide us in every single thing we do. Our decisions that we make, our, how we hire people, anything and everything. And we live by them, in everything, anything and everything we do. So that's how we came about them was really, it was the whiteboard. We put it on the whiteboard and then thinned them out until we got to the ones that were most important to us. And that we've revised them throughout the years. We've realized that maybe
that's important.
They were too broad. They were not, they weren't specific enough to be something that our team was going to remember. That we wanted to, and actually you're going to laugh. Because our team has a thing for tacos, we then took all the values and we put them into the acronym tacos.
Of course.
So they're a little bit easier to understand. But they are teamwork, collaborate and support each other, to achieve shared goals. Accountability, right? Take ownership for your actions and deliver on your commitments. Continuous improvement. This is a big one.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to focus on not only improving our business, but continuing to improve themselves and their own skill set, both personally and professionally. O is for optimism. We approach everything with a positive attitude. We look for how do we get it done as opposed to looking at the problems. We look for solutions, right? And then S is for service. We operate everything we do, and you've heard this on multiple shows, with a help first mindset.
I love it.
And that is like our driving force for everything we do. So it took some iterations. It took some realizations that we were too congested. There were too many things going on, and we really had to slim it down and make it to where they fit us and who we are. And again, they're our guiding principles going forward. So
beautiful. So along with that is the same thing. Now, I am a sole proprietor. I'm alone. Master Happiness is a one-man show. Okay. And in order to make it work, early on, I had to say the same thing. I need a mission statement. I need a North Star. I need those values to look at that and say, what are my lines in the sand? What are the things that I will not cross? Where do I stand? How do I, if I decide to hire people in the future, I'm going to use those same types of values, those beliefs. but more so, even the customers that I deal with and the vendors I deal with, everyone I deal with has to have some type of connection to my values for it to work with me.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to remember. I think we miss that often, that we look at our partners, our vendors, our customers.
Right.
I'm not afraid to fire a client if I need to. If they
have to.
If they don't treat our team right, they don't fit with our core values, then they don't fit with us, and that's okay.
Correct.
Right? There is a place for them. It may just not be with us. And we have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now, one of the other things that I found really interesting, and I've helped a number of different companies write their core values. And I'll be honest, I was with the crowd of going, it's pretty much, isn't it going to be the same core values? And that's what I thought at first. It was kind of like, well, everyone kind of fights for the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was, you were among the first people that we sat down and we talked about core values. And I got a better understanding of the importance of it, as opposed to it's just another one of those things that we do.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting. So my core values at Master Happiness is, number one is happiness. All right. It's got to be my driving force. If I want to work with people that are going to bring happiness to me, as well as I have to bring happiness to them, I want them to feel some joy in what they do. That's my driving force. Second is inspiration. And I want to inspire people to become better, but I also want to be inspired by my clients. Okay. It's really important from that. If I can't feel that, we're no good for each other, because I feed off of that. Next for me is creativity. I pat myself on the back to being one of the most creative people that most people are going to meet. I look at, I really do the out of the box thinking, and I try to come up with something different, innovative all the time. And so creativity's got to be a driving force. If I ever hire somebody, they have got to show me that they're very creative as well. Okay. Empathy is really big for me. And that is just, I need to be able to put myself in my client's shoes, as well as my employees' shoes. I've got to look at my vendors, et cetera, see what they're thinking. I'm not going to take advantage of them, and I don't want them to take advantage of me. And that leads us to integrity is the other thing, is that it's more than just being honest. It's following through with that and knowing that I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to stick to these values. And this is what's really important. And the reason I wanted you to share yours and me to share mine was just to tell people, just two guys like us that can get along. All right. And we have a lot of the same mindsets, run our companies slightly different. Not that I don't disagree with any of your values, and I'm sure you don't disagree with any of my values, but you can see that we're individuals and we run our businesses different. And this is why it's so important, because this is the easiest way for me to articulate to other people what I stand for. Yeah. Okay. So,
and I think, again, people think it's just an exercise and just something that's put away in a book somewhere, or it's on somebody prints it on a poster and hangs it in the office. But at the heart of it, you've taken the time as a business owner or a leadership team to figure out what's important to you.
Yep.
And from there, you can figure out what direction you want to take the business. And without that, you're kind of just operating rudderless with what feels right and not necessarily with a North Star, as you put it. Right. So it really helps you get clear on who you are, what you believe in, and how you want to operate your business going forward.
Yeah. And on top of that, one of the things is I like telling people early on, a small business that maybe hasn't set their values yet, is to say, I want you to think of these 3 V's. It's the values, the vision, and virtue. And the reason I put those 3 together is the values is really important. I need to know what you stand for, what you believe in. All right. It's really, it's easy for you to think I understand you, but unless you really state those things and say, this is what I live by, that's one thing. The vision's important because it's telling me where you want to go. Mm-hmm. And most important to me is when I say virtue is, do not just make up words and a statement that you think your clients want to hear.
Yeah, fancy words.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's all kinds of pretty things you can do. Sure. Right. And so instead come up with the stuff that's real. Don't try to create something that you think, well, I want to attract those customers, so I'm going to say this. In reality, why not live a life that is true to yourself, and then the right customers will connect with you. All right. So it's really important to think about all 3 of those things. You'll come up with your list of values that are your guiding, that your North Star, your line in the sand. Sorry, can't even speak. What you believe in. You come up with your vision, where you want to go. All right. And those that those values are the how you're going to get there. And then lastly, do it with virtue. Do it truthfully. Don't lie, because what'll end up happening is you'll have great employees who will be let down when they realize you didn't really mean that. You will have customers that leave you. You will have vendors disappointed, etc. It never works. So be really true and honest. Okay. All right. Anything else that you can think about you want to really bring home with this whole idea of values, the importance of creating values?
I do. So as it relates to building teams,
Yes.
I hear a lot of people talk about it's so hard to find good people. I can't hire anybody. Nobody wants to work, right? I just heard on the way in, somebody's talking about massive layoffs coming. Great. Remember that nobody wants to work for, can I say crappy on the radio?
I guess you did.
Nobody,
Okay.
nobody wants to work for a crappy company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work for a business that, that is, not great, right? Doesn't have a great culture, where people are, just going to work to earn a paycheck.
Right.
Right.
Right. Uh-huh.
People want to work for great companies, for great leaders. And if you haven't set up that culture and you haven't taken the time to focus on building the right culture, then you are going to struggle to find people.
Right.
Just kind of the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it comes to building teams, this is instrumental as a foundation. Before you move forward, this has to be right, or you're not going to get people and you're not going to retain good people.
100%. I'm going to give you a little round of applause on that one, Joe. All right. Aside from the values, though, I think understanding the culture of how you want to run the company. And there are so many different ways that you can look at this and say, I want a hierarchy company, all right, where I set the rules, you just listen and follow and make sure what I say goes. Maybe you want to be the type of person who's an ad hoc type of culture where you're saying, hey, we're going to jump and change based on what we see out there. Maybe we're just going to follow the herd. Maybe we're going to be the innovative group. Maybe we are going to be more democratic. But come up with that too and kind of have a greater understanding and have a conversation. And I love how you brought up with your key players, your team, your leaders. You have to have that conversation. And they have to be on board with you. And if you've already got that staff in place, get them all involved in writing and defining your culture and defining those values. And I think that's what's so strong is then it eliminates the question of, well, how do I do this? It gives you power, it gives your employees power when they can make a decision and they can always come to you and say, I decided to do this. It might have been the wrong decision, but I did it based on our mission statement. I did it based on our values.
Yes.
I thought it followed our values. Then it's up to us as leaders to say, I love the fact that you did that. You did right. Your mind was set, but let's not do it that way. Instead, let's do it this way. Instead of saying you screwed up, right? So I think
buy-in is important.
Oh my God, yes.
The more that you get the team bought in and engaged in the decision making, the better that works out all around. And it works out, for your culture again. Now
God, yeah.
Now they have that engagement gives them some buy-in in the business, and they feel connected, and they want to see it succeed, and they want to be successful, right? So. Extremely important. I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah. I think the thing that people miss or they don't understand the real meaning of creating the real culture and the values is this. We hire people and we train them on what to do, right? Maybe they have some skills and we go, oh, you're perfect. I'm looking for someone who knows Excel and Microsoft Word. Great. You know that this is how we do it here. This is this cool program we use and we're going to teach you, what to do, right? But this gives them the how we want you to do it and how we want you to do it on a daily basis, how we want you to talk to the clients, how we want to be presented to the world. And too often we miss that because we just assume, oh, I think they understand that, right? We concentrate so much on those, the hard skills. And sometimes we concentrate on the soft skills, which is really important, but we don't concentrate enough, or many people don't concentrate enough on that company culture and how important that is. And if you want to recruit people, you've got to look at all those aspects and you got to have that in place before we get into that next step. So that next step is, of course, going to be this, and that is, is align your values with your mission. Okay. And this is the tricky part about, our mission is what we do. This is exactly what we do. And this is really important that we say we do this, but we have to be able to align it with the values of saying, like you Brightway Insurance, you sell insurance, and I'm really paraphrasing that. You're going to say, no, this is what we do, Marty. We give people peace of mind.
Sounds like you know that.
But that's the what you do it, and the values is how you do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's really important. So Joe, you have a team of how many people now?
We have 7.
You have 7 people. How often do you do any type of training on the values to remind them of the how we want it to be done?
Not nearly enough.
Okay.
Full transparency.
Yeah. That's why I called you on it.
Yeah, no, it should be something that we talk about in every single meeting in some way, shape, or form. And ultimately, it ends up in our quarterlies.
Yep.
We bring them up. We talk about them. How can we improve on them? Make sure that everybody knows them, right? They should be a part of our daily language. And I don't think we do a good enough job. And I'm not sure anybody really does a good enough job of making that front and center, top of mind for every conversation that they have.
Yeah. It's just got to be done. I think what happens is people get, or at least a lot of the companies I've worked with, people get excited about it. Oh my God, I got my values list. Everyone's bought into this. This is the right thing. I think we've worked out all the kinks on this. And this doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you write it on the board and you say, there, we're done. It could take weeks. It could take months based on your team and how important it is to you. But I think everyone gets hyped up about it early on. And then it kind of, you kind of let it disappear because you kind of think, oh, well, yeah, we all work that way. We explained it. Everyone's on board. But it's something that is that important that we have to remind people on a regular basis. Even if what you end up doing is, so you have, I have 5 values that I list. Okay. And 5 or so, I wouldn't go more than 7 values for any company. But I think it's, for you have 5 as well, that it probably wouldn't hurt for at least once a week to bring up one value.
Yeah.
And have everyone say, how do you fall into that? How do you, your S is service, right?
Sure.
Tell me that. How are you re-emphasizing the help first attitude?
Yeah.
And I think it's important because if you, as the principal, kind of let it go disappear,
everybody does.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's something to consider. And this is probably a topic for another show.
Yeah.
We can get into this deep in the weeds. I think 5 is too many.
Really? Okay.
I think you should have it streamlined down. I think there's stuff that you can merge into, a maybe a broader scope, but I think maybe 3 is the number. It makes it easier for your team to understand. It makes it easier for them to remember, and it makes it easier for them to make decisions based on it, right? When you get into 5, you're asking people to remember 5, items that, it can be, when you look at them on a word, there's teamwork, accountability, right?
Yeah.
You can run through them, but what's the meaning of those, right? And what, so I think we could find a way to really thin them down, streamline them, and make them all truly matter to where they were impactful to every decision they made. And you could probably do it in 3.
Possibly. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think there's sometimes enough of emphasis on there's multiple things that are important. And I think it's up to you. It's up to you as the company to decide what works for you.
Yeah.
I just have seen people who say, oh yeah, we have like 15 or 20 core values. And I was like,
too much. Nobody's remembering it.
And I do like the number 3. I really think the human mind can memorize 3 very easy. I mean, that's why our phone numbers are broke up into chunks of 3 and 4 numbers, right? So they're easier to remember. And so 3 is a good number. My social security is 3. Exactly. But you can't remember the last 4 numbers, right? Because there's 4. Okay. But anyway, it's got to be all tied in. And I think it's really important that we continue to train our people on how our mission and our values intertwine.
Yeah.
That the mission is exactly what we do. We have a vision of where we want to go, but the way we're going to do this, the how is those value statements.
Yep.
And I think that's what's so very important. Okay, so this is cool.
Are we going to talk about my purpose or no? I mean, you threw it out there to give people peace of mind.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is your mission?
It is to provide people peace of mind.
Yes.
While always giving clients more than they expect.
I love that. There you go. See, look at this. You get a second round of applause,
you.
Joe. You're outstanding today. This is amazing. This is amazing. And I'm not just
You
saying,
can't just bring up the purpose and not actually talk about
well,
it.
it was a teaser for future shows,
Got it.
future episodes, right?
All right.
Everyone is leaning into the
Yeah.
speaker right
Yeah,
now.
we'll see you in
listening.
episode 3.
Yeah, exactly. Then maybe if we remember. Okay. All right. So what I want to do is jump into this. We're doing great on time here. This is great. This show is moving along just perfectly fine, just the way it's supposed to be doing. But I'm going to throw, before we get into this, I'm going to throw a question at you, Joe.
Oh boy, here we go.
Based on your core values, all right? If you were to come up with an animal that would be the mascot for the Brightway Janicki agency, an animal that would instill the spirit of your values, what do you think? What do you think it would be? And I love asking these questions where nobody is prepared.
Does it have to be an animal? Can't it just be a taco?
No, it can't be a taco, because that would have been very, very easy for you. And I don't want to make it that easy. Okay. So an animal. Think of an animal that follows through with all of that, right?
It'd be a taco cat, because
there you go. I love that. Right.
Taco cat backwards is still a taco cat.
I like that. All right. Yeah. Beautiful. All right.
Yeah. So Key on my team, who's a cat fanatic, that one's for you, Key.
All right. Nice. Taco cat.
That is the cat you can have for the. She wants an office cat. So
why not?
If it's a taco cat,
there you go.
Done deal.
Done. Fantastic. All right.
I'm getting itchy just thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're allergic to cats.
I am.
But you're not allergic to tacos. So
no.
Maybe they balance out. Yeah, that's right. All right. So let's get into C, the letter C, and that is communicate your culture in recruitment. Yep. This is the big one here. It's got to be like one of the key reasons we're creating this list of values. One of the key reasons we're defining the way we run the show. We create our culture. One of the things to do that is to get everyone on board so they all understand. And I think it's so important during recruitment to explain to people, look, this is the type of business we have. We are somewhat democratic. We want everyone's input, but ultimately one person's going to make the final decision. But we are anxious to get your information. Maybe that's your culture. You want to share that with people. All right. Another thing might be, no, we're a hierarchy in your input. I'm the boss. I'm going to make a decision and everyone follows what I say. If you're not interested in that, this is not the place for you to work. And I think that's important, as well as talking about those individual values and getting people to talk about the values and how the values reflect those values, share stories, etc.
Yeah. And we do the same thing, except you have to build your interview questions around your core values.
Yes.
Ask questions that are leading to them to give you answers that would help you understand whether or not they fit that profile, fit those core values. We also let everybody know that we are very, very, very protective of our team and our culture. And we are very selective about who we allow to come into that culture.
Yes.
I'm going to be the first to admit that I've made some hiring mistakes, and that were not good culture fits. We figured it out quickly. We made moves quickly to terminate those relationships.
Yeah.
And because for the greater good of the team. And listen, that somebody can be an absolute superstar and the best at what they do. But my first letter in T was teamwork. And if you're not somebody that believes in teamwork, you're not somebody that works on my team. I don't care how much production you can do. If you're going to be a cancer to my organization, you don't fit. So it's really, we lead in with those questions that identify if that individual is going to fit with our core values or not, and try to weed that out before it becomes a problem, right? If we get that up front, then when they come in, there already should be a good fit unless we miss something. At which point we got to make a decision very quickly on that as well.
I like it. I like it a lot. I love the idea. And let's just go with your first core value, teamwork. I'm agreeing with you. During the interview, what we normally do is most companies forget about their core values and they ask questions like, again, do you know Microsoft Excel? Do you know Microsoft Word? Have you done this? Blah, 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 blah. And they ask all those hard skills. And sometimes they ask about the soft skills, but it's so easy to be able to say something as easy as, Tell me one of your favorite teams or one of the best teams you were ever part of. Okay. And tell me why you loved being part of that team.
Yeah.
Tell me one time that you were in charge of running a team. How did you do that? What was the greatest obstacle you faced?
Yep.
And how did you overcome that? Tell me something about a team that you were like, wow, team was just running correctly. Just have those kinds of conversations. And by asking those kind of questions, enough different questions, and attacking teamwork in so many different ways, you get a really good understanding of how they define teamwork.
Yeah.
And how they fit in. And you ask them enough questions. You can't ask them one question and be done with it.
No.
You're going to catch them if they're exaggerating the truth, if they're really honest with it. And I think the more and more you can talk to people and say, look, I want to make sure we're hiring the right people, and you want to make sure you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm asking these questions. If you're not the right person, you're not the right person. Okay. So let's just be honest and have a really good conversation about it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm liking what you said about you've got to intertwine those values into the questions, but you got to cover all of them.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. If you're missing one, it's not going to be a good fit.
Right.
And when you look at like doing reviews and that with the team, those are things that we're reviewing on, and we're making sure that you're still a good fit. And you're off on one, we need to have a conversation. We need to get you back on track. And if we can't get you back on track, then we need to have a conversation, right? If you're missing two, you're probably not coming back, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So they should be involved again in every decision that we make, both with clients, vendors, and each other.
Yeah. So Joe, I'm looking at the time. We missed this, so I'm going to play a couple of little messages to remind people who they're listening to. All right. So hold on 1 second, please. Everyone, don't go away. We're going to be right back with Joe Janicki and more about building a strong team for your business. We're talking about recruiting. Thank you all so very much for staying tuned into Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I'm your host, Marty Jalove. And as you know, I come on every Monday night at 7 o'clock. And today we're talking about building a strong team from recruitment to retirement. This is going to be a multi-part series, and I got my friend Joe Janicki here. And so if you missed the first half of the show, tune in later in the week. The recording will be on Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube, all over the place. So definitely tune in. So far, we've been talking a little bit about the B in Bacon was build your cultural blueprint. A is align your values with your mission. And C, we're still halfway through or mostly through. C is communicate your culture in recruitment. And this is so important. Once you define those values, that culture, you define who you are, how you go to market, what you do. Once you do that, you have to make sure that you are constantly not only reminding your current employees about those, but always talking about that in great depth during recruitment. You're talking about who you are, what you stand for. This is what you expect, because you want to build the excitement to that team of, and I think, Joe, you had said it earlier, was you want to make it seem like, hey, this is very important. We don't just accept anyone. You have to fit into this. You have to have the aptitude to do the job, but you also have to have the same values as our team, because our team is something special and not everyone gets to join our team. So I think it's really important to go both ways. Explain who you are, how you go to how you go to market, what your values are, etc. But then also ask them those questions, those direct and indirect questions, so you can learn how they interpret your core values and how they really fit in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw it back to you, Joe.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. Anything else? What are we talking about? And welcome to the show, Joe. Anything else you want to add about communicating? What about during those interviews?
Yeah, no. And like, I think we talked about it before the break. So much of it starts in the beginning when you're interviewing, intertwining those questions. But as I mentioned, so much of it is an ongoing conversation too. And, constantly looking at when we do, our quarterly, weekly, annual reviews with our team, that we're including some of our review around those core values again, and the way that we would structure our interview around that. Our review with that team member the same way. And we look for anything that might be out of place, because listen, people get disengaged and things fall off, and maybe you miss something in the interview, and now that is coming to light as you're seeing how somebody's dealing with a client or dealing with another team member, and you need to flush that stuff out and either get it back on track or or get it out of your company. So
I love it.
that's all I got.
All right. That's
That's a
plenty.
wrap.
That's plenty. That's plenty. We're not done yet. We're going to dig into this a little bit more. But I like this idea of making sure that everyone understands where you're coming from, how you define the company. And because later on, let's say, because you had talked about, you got to make those decisions quick. The idea of hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
If they're not a fit, they're not a fit. Okay. Understanding if the person is trainable, nudgeable, whatever, to get in line. But if you find out quickly that they really don't fit into your core values, you have to analyze two things. Was my interviewing process incorrect? Right.
Yeah.
Or was this person, fabricating?
Yeah.
In order to get the job.
So I have a friend of mine, a mentor, that I love his process because it's a very long and detailed interview process. And the questions that they've built in have been questions that they've added because they missed something at some point.
Nice.
So those questions, they said, how do we miss this? What was it that we missed? And let's add it to that process so we don't do it again.
Yeah. I'm liking it a lot. Hey, one other thing I just wanted to add in, and I meant to say it during the B, which is going to be the build your culture blueprint, is in the write-up after the show. I do a blog post, kind of a summary of what we talked about the show, and then all the links of where you can find it on the podcasts, the YouTube, etc. I'm going to include a link to the way that I help define the company culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's I love the way that you do it, because you make it so simple. When you had said, if you were to hire someone right now, okay, what are the values you would want for them to be part of your team? And I like that that's so simplified. And I do a different thing that I think they can live in the same world. And that is, find 5 friends of yours. And why are they friends? Give me the value. What are their beliefs that make them good friends? What do you respect about them? Then come up with 5 historical people, famous people, etc. What do you admire about them? And then take a look at 5 businesses, and the same thing. What do you respect or admire about them? And find the commonality in all of that. And that is another way of doing it. But I love the way that you make it so quick and easy. You're going to hire somebody. What are some of the values or beliefs you would want that person? Because that person's going to have your back.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I'm going to include the worksheet, a link to the worksheet.
In the show notes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to go back to that for a second, the other thing that I did is I pulled everybody into the office individually by themselves. And I asked them, if you had a team member join us today, what qualities should that team member have? Right. And I kept all their notes separate. So the next person came in, I did not share the other person's notes.
Good.
But then when we were done, pulled the whole team together, put them all up.
Yeah.
And this may surprise you, it may not, but there were so many commonalities between mine and all of theirs that it was clear that the culture we had started to build was working, and that was the fit that we were looking for. We were all on the same page.
That's so. And you know what? And Joe, it does not surprise me, because you have an incredible team, and I think you have a great knack for hiring the right people. I think you're really good at that.
Just lucky.
Yeah, I think you're pretty good at letting them go too. All right,
so, Jerry Maguire, Marty, we brought you here to let you go.
That's right. Thank you. All right. So we did C, which is communicate your culture and recruitment. O is going to be optimize onboarding for inclusion. In other words, really the fit there. And once you onboard them, once they come in, it is I always say that you don't have a customer until they buy from you at least a second time. Okay, you're going to get people to buy one thing from you, but once they buy from you a second time, they're in the family. Okay, and I think that it's really important during the recruitment phase. You don't just bring the people in and say, "All right, you're on your own. See you later." You have to have some type of an onboarding process, and continue to make sure that they fit, and continue to give them every opportunity to fit, because it costs so much to go and hire people.
Yeah.
It costs so much to advertise and promote, to recruit people in. Why not do your best job of making sure that they grow? And that includes buddy programs, mentors, anything like that, a comprehensive training program that is you the primaries in the business, but also your that and look upon onboarding as so important, almost more important than recruiting. Because I could have 10 people show up at your door, but once you get them in there, What do you do? So, Joe, what's your onboarding kind of looking like?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things that you need to look at with this. The first one is they need to come in, and we need to make their joining our team a huge deal.
Yep.
When they get there, we just shower them with energy. They get some Brightway swag. They get and I stole this from another guy, but we find out what's important to them, what they like, candy wise and drink wise. And we have a basket put together for them, like a welcome basket,
Nice.
that they get when they join us. And it's kind of cool to walk into a place that you're already uncomfortable. You don't know anybody or anything. It's your first day there. And the first thing out of the gates is everybody's there to welcome you, right? And that's a big deal. And we make a big deal about it. From there, we have a very specific training and shadowing plan set up, because there is nothing worse than walking into your first day at a new job, sitting at your desk going, hey, what do I do?
Right.
Who do I talk to? Who is this person and what do they do? Who's that person? What do they do? We have intro in the beginning, and then your first meeting is with somebody that goes over what your first 8 weeks is going to look like. I schedule from this time to this time, we're going to do this from this. So there's no questions, right? And then we take them through that and introduce them to everybody. And then we go from there. So you come in and you've got a game plan right out of the gate.
Right.
And then mentorship continues. There's some self-paced work, and it's development all along the way, but there's no surprises. You know exactly who does what, and you know exactly what you're going to be doing for the next 8 weeks.
I love it. And I like one of the things that, when working with you, understanding your process is that you've got like levels of growth.
Yeah.
And you almost, you really put it in their lap and you say, you want to grow, you want to earn more, you want to do more. This is where you can hit, and you can hit it in X amount of months, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to work really hard, you can get there sooner. If you need to take your time, it might take you a little bit longer. But we're there to mentor you, work with you, buddy up with you.
Yeah.
You're one of the companies that truly have an extremely open door policy.
Yeah.
And I love that because I think the employees really appreciate it. And the help first attitude that you do for your customers is echoed so much with your employees. Okay. That you're always there to help them first. And I think that's beautiful. And a lot of people could learn from what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we have to keep that, open door policy. I don't have all the best ideas.
Right.
And I've got a fantastic team, and many of those ideas come from that team. So it's important to be able to have those open and honest conversations. And it goes both ways. I push my team to grow and get uncomfortable and do things that they are not normally willing to do on their own. And I do that because I see potential in them, right?
Yep.
Because I do care about them and I want to see them grow. But in reality, you're right. There is that roadmap that there's a place for them wherever they decide to fall and however long they decide to fall there, right? And I don't want to use the word fall. Maybe that's the wrong word.
Yeah, land.
Yeah. But they're falling forward anyways.
Okay.
So,
there you go.
So somebody can truly go as far or as short as they want to go, but I'm going to push them to get uncomfortable, and I'm going to push them to grow, and I'm going to push them to try to get to that next level. Those small incremental changes, we talk about this every single week. Small incremental changes are those things that you look back a year from now and you've just done a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And you look back and like, wow, look at how far I came.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like you're moving far, but when you look backwards and you measure backwards, you realize that you've really grown a tremendous amount.
That's
so
beautiful.
we push for that on with everybody on my team. I push, let's just make a small incremental, improvement. Just every day we're going to get up and we're going to look to be a little bit better than we were.
Right.
I'm not looking for you to knock the cover off the ball today if you're just starting to swing the bat yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm looking for you just to get up and do a little bit better.
I love it. It's interesting. I was working with another client like this, and I was talking to one of the employees, and they were like, I cannot get my arms around the inventory. It's so enormous. I don't know how to memorize or understand the inventory. And I said, I broke it down to just one product a day. Just one product. Go out there, look at one product, understand it, ask someone a question on it, read up on it, just one product. And I remember the look on his face was like, one product, what's that going to do? I go, at the end of the week, that's 5 products. And 5 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but at the end of the month, that's 20. Okay. And at the end of the year, that's over 200 products, right?
Yeah.
And I go, you just think of it like that, because a year goes by so quickly. As we get older and older, these years go by very quickly. And instead, what we do is I can go day after day going, it's too much for me to handle. It's too much for me to handle. But it's one step. It's always one step. It's just go a little bit more. And you know what? And I told him, and I'm telling you, only 1 a day. You really want to do it? Why not learn 5 a day? 5 is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Now you're going to say, and now if maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll suddenly, I couldn't do 5. I only did 3. Fine.
What if you worked on Saturday?
Yeah. There you go. Just come in on Saturday and learn 50 on that day. All right. But again, it's that idea of doing a little bit. And then once you get used to that, do a little bit more. Just do a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit more. And you can learn everything. And here we're going off. We're going back into how employees can become better. But this is this whole idea of optimizing the onboarding. And I think this is important, is to show them a way that sometimes the things that we do, something about our business, can sometimes feel very overwhelming. When someone is brand new, and I mean, for you, if somebody's brand new, they're going to flip through this kind of stuff and go, I have to learn how to do this, and I have to learn how to do this, and I have to learn how to do this. I'll never do that. No, you're not going to do it today,
right?
But you're going to do it over 3 months. And this is how you're going to do it. You're going to learn this. You're going to learn to crawl first, then you're going to walk, then you're going to run. Okay.
Baby steps, Bob.
Yeah,
baby steps.
That's it. Baby, right? And so for me, one of the things is it's, even though I don't have any employees, I don't onboard people. What's neat is every time I get a new client, I am kind of onboarded to their business, because I have to learn their business. I have to ask them straight out, what are your values? Tell me more about your values, because I don't even know if we should work together. Then I have to learn this. You know how many different computer programs I have to know? Because every client I have works with different computer programs. But I have to learn that kind of stuff. And the coolest thing is that I know what I learned from this person here may not be perfectly matched with this other person here, but I'm bringing some different knowledge, some creativity, a different look. And I think it's really important that this culture fit that we have, it's about shared values, not about shared backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I think in this onboarding process, I think it's really important for us to understand more about what the person is, what makes that person an individual.
Yeah.
Instead of we're just doing a cookie cutter and we're all the same.
Yeah.
Because
individuals bring more to the table.
Completely.
And I would urge everybody listening to this show to go back. We did a show on diversity.
Yes.
And, it gets mislabeled in that, but that show really enlightened me on the importance of, first of all, what diversity actually is.
Yes.
Right. And what it means in a workplace, and the benefit to a company to have a diverse organization, because there's people with different cultures, different beliefs, different whatever, and they all bring something to the table that you wouldn't have if you just surround yourself with you and people like you.
Yes.
So I always say I don't have all the answers, right?
Right.
But collectively as a team, we can do some really cool stuff together.
I like that. I always say that if I was going to hire people, if like suddenly it just worked, that I was going to hire 10 people, the last people I would do is want 10 of me.
Right.
All right. I've already got one of me.
Yeah.
That's plenty. All right. I want all these other people who are coming at it in different ways and adding their own twist, their own spin. And this leads us to this end, is notice cultural catalysts during the interview. These are people that don't only agree with your values, but supercharge those values.
Yeah.
And suddenly they make you, you hire somebody. Imagine hiring somebody, Joe, that you came in and you said, tell me something about what do you think of teamwork? Well, you know what? I'm the captain of my softball team, just an amateur softball team. We do this, but I played softball and baseball in high school and in grammar school. I had some of the greatest mentors. Okay. And I used to eat, drink, and sleep baseball all the time, but it was about the team. It wasn't about one individual. And the idea that with the stuff I would love to share with you and the team about the motivational spirit from all the captains, all the mentors, all the coaches I've had, you suddenly going, wow, this guy's a better team player than we are, right? And you're suddenly going, I want this guy as part of our team. I want that energy because he takes that idea of teamwork to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think if we can find those kinds of people, suddenly, you know what it does is it calls us out on what our core values are. And you suddenly go, well, we said teamwork. I don't know if I wanted to go that teamworky. Okay. But what ends up happening is, like you said, you fine tune your core values. And sometimes we need those cheerleaders, those people who grab those values by the horns and say, this is, I live by this.
Yeah.
Okay. And you suddenly ask yourself, oh, it goes back to what we started, the virtue thing. Did I just say that because I want people to think this? Do I really believe this? And do I have this enough gusto like this person has? This person's, bursting at the seams with these values. This is a person I want to really important. Think about this, and you don't have to name names. But think about your different values in your team, right? Your 5 different values. And you don't have to go through all of them. You certainly don't have to go through the people. But can you name some incidents or some people, experiences, or attitudes in people that you would say that person on a scale of 1 to 5 on that value is a 10? Okay, something like that. Can you think of anything like that? And I love throwing you like on the spot like that, Joe.
You do. You
Yeah,
do.
yes.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this, and I've seen this growth and this change. I have a team member on my team right
Yes.
now that, when it comes to accountability, hands down is like better than probably the most.
Okay.
And it's not always accountability that we always like get things done the way they should be done. But when something isn't done the way it should be done, they take accountability for it.
Right.
And I've heard this individual on the phone tell a client, I dropped the ball. This is on me and I will fix it. Right. And that to me is because you do that once, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's a learning experience and you don't do it again. Right. You
Yes.
learn from it. And that's the growth piece that I love of this. But, when I look at accountability, I look at that person. When it comes to Help First, my entire team
Yep.
embodies that. And it's a daily thing where a client, and I'll give you an example. We had one customer, they were with another insurance company. Let's call it out at State Farm. Their house was significantly underinsured.
Okay.
When we looked at the reconstruction cost amongst many other companies, they were about $500,000 light of what they should be or what it would cost to rebuild their home. They were also missing a whole bunch of liability that was imperative for them to have because the home was paid in full. They have kids in the household. They had a large net worth. So there was no umbrella, no liability. And there were things that were missing from their State Farm policy. So rather than going out and bad-mouthing State Farm,
right,
or telling them, whatever they could have told them to close the deal, what they did was they looked at it and called the client back and said, hey, listen, you've got good coverage with State Farm, but there's a lot of stuff missing that we need to fix. And I'm going to send you a list of what I want you to call your agent and have them change on that policy because State Farm is still the best option for you. It doesn't make sense to move you. You've been with them a while, and making these changes is going to be the best option for you to do. Right. That's the Help First attitude. And they all embody that. For my team, it's not about closing a deal. It's about taking care of a client or a vendor or whoever first.
Yeah.
Right. We are the secondary to that. Our job is and so I'm really to single somebody out. I couldn't because they all do it. And you'll hear it. If you walk in my office, you'll listen to a phone call and you'll hear they all do it, and they all do it naturally, and it's not coached. It's just who they are.
And then, you know what? I'm going to say that's a testament to you bringing and finding the right people, because there are people that you would find that you would have to coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you and I, we both know that there's also, we want to use a regular scorecard on our values, and we want to go through our people on a regular basis and say, what, on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 to 10, whatever you want to do, how do they rank in there? And are they slipping? Because then you decide, do I need them to be a 10 in everything? Could they be 7s in everything? Whatever the deal is, you come up with something like that. But I think it's really important for you to know and for you to hear this again is that this again is a testament to how well you hire people. Because I do agree with you. I've worked at plenty of places. I have visited plenty of establishments where I've gone to get products and services, and I have never met a team more focused on helping first before making a sale.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
And it's cool. And I love the fact that you said you're not training them on this what comes natural to them. And so you found a great group of people.
Thank you.
Okay.
Said I'm lucky, right? I did tell you that.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, however it is, I like it. I like it. But so going on this idea of these cultural catalysts, the people who are the cheerleaders that really push the values higher is important. And it's so important because I'm going to go back to how we started the conversation. Too many companies ignore the values. We never even come up with a list of values. We said, just come to work, do your job and go home, right? That's what happens too often, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important for us, not only in the interview, but during that onboarding process. And while they're still babies in our companies, is to have the senior members and those people continue to share stories, just casual stories that mimic and mirror our values. Tell us more about, hey, Bill, you were on a baseball team. What was that really like? What was when you were playing baseball? What was a coach on another team that you were like, oh my God, I'm so glad I never I'm on a team with that guy. That kind of stuff. You got to keep having those conversations as opposed to just coming straight out and saying, what does teamwork mean to you? Right? Continue to have this, because when you ask somebody and you pick a specific value, like for me, if I said creativity, what does creativity mean to you? You're going to give me a definition. But if I talk to you about creativity, tell me a point in time where you saw someone and you were like, wow, that person is so creative. I wish I was that creative. Or tell me a time that you were hit with a problem and you needed a creative solution. I want to hear the stories, because the stories are really closer to the truth. And that comes out. And those are the things we want to hear. And we want our whole team to hear those and move forward. So we're coming down to the end here. And so, Joe, I'm going to throw it back to you to ask you to finish up the show here. Yeah. But first, I'm going to say this whole thing that I truly believe is building the strong team. This is episode 1 of probably 6 episodes. Next month, we're going to talk maybe about really in depth about onboarding. Yeah. Okay. But I really think that's important for everyone to understand that building a team is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I can, I'll close out with that. The stuff that I do now wasn't because I knew how to do it perfectly from the beginning. It's because I made a whole bunch of mistakes. It's because I had to ask for help from mentors. There's a lot of stuff I knew from prior career that I tried to implement, but there were things that I didn't know, and I knew that I didn't know, and I had to find out a lot of things through other mentors and friends along the way. So it didn't happen overnight. You're right. It is a marathon. Yeah. It is not a sprint, but it does begin in the very beginning with your interview process. And you can eliminate a lot of problems right out of the gate with a very good hiring, interviewing process.
Fantastic. Thank you, Joe. All right. As we wrap up, thank you guys so very much for tuning in to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. Later in the week, the recording will be on Bacon Bits with Master Happiness anywhere you listen to podcasts. So definitely, if you missed any of today's episode, tune in, and definitely tune in every Monday night for our next episode. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Thank you. And good night, everybody.